Hello, podcast fam. Welcome to another episode of the Creative-ish podcast. We're your host. I'm Kelly.
And I'm Ariana.
And how are we feeling today, Ari?
Feeling good, feeling refreshed.
Yeah.
We're recording this in the morning. So,
first thing in the morning, recording some content.
how are you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling excited. Right now, we're working on some big studio projects like this podcast. So, we're learning a lot. We're learning a lot about YouTube, podcasting platforms, everything. And I'm excited about that. We're also going to be launching a new template that I'm really excited about. So,
So, right now we are working on a website template for social media managers.
Yes. And course creators and anybody who sells digital products like ebooks, courses.
Yeah, and this template is really different from our past template. So we're really excited about that, and I think it's gonna be a hit. I'm not gonna lie, I am pretty excited about it.
I'm really excited about it. It's not your average template. I just love it.
Yeah.
I'm so excited to share it soon. It's so colorful, and it has like a different layout that is not very common in the web design world.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited to launch that soon.
Hopefully it will be launching in August.
Hopefully.
Late August, maybe. We'll see.
We'll see.
But yeah, today we are going to be talking about working with clients, client management. We have quite a bit of experience on this topic. We have been through a lot of ups and downs. Not too many downs, but stuff that you can quickly learn from and do better. And we just wanted to share with you like all our tips, all our thoughts.
Yeah. Like Ari said, we have mostly had positive experiences, but either way, every experience there is something you can learn from, and we have learned a lot. And so we'll be talking all about workflows and stuff.
Yes, we have just a few tips for working with clients. For you that you haven't listened to our first episode and don't know like what we do, we are two designers. So me and Kelly work on brand and website design for service providers mostly. And that's how we work with clients. So our first tip is obviously to define your ideal client and be okay with saying no when it doesn't feel aligned. I know that in the beginning, it can feel like you need to say yes to everything, and you probably will have to because you're just starting out and you need to get that experience. And honestly, if you don't put yourself in situations that aren't your usual preference, you don't know if you're going to like it or not like it. So obviously in the beginning, you can be open with clients and saying yes to things that are maybe a little bit out of your comfort zone just for you to learn from that experience. But I think right now we're at a point where we definitely say no when something doesn't feel aligned. And it's really important for us to know if we're excited about this or not, because if we're not, then it's just not going to be that fun,
No, and it's not going to be enjoyable. And at the end of the day, you might even end up presenting the client because you just don't feel aligned with that project. And not even as the point of view of the designer or the service provider, but also in the point of the client. Like if you don't feel passionate about the project, maybe you're not the best service provider to be serving them.
Yeah, and it's important to be honest with people when you're in your consultation calls. Be honest with them that you don't think that you're the right fit for them.
Exactly.
And they can find someone that will serve them even better.
Exactly. Educate the client. Tell them this is not the type of work I usually work with. And, at the end of the day, we're doing what's best for the client. Because every time we say no to a project that is not aligned, it ends up benefiting the client also.
Exactly. So something that you need to think about when meeting a client for the first time in a consultation call is like asking yourself, how creative will you feel executing this person's vision? Does their vision like align with what the type of work that you want to put in your portfolio, the type of work that aligns with your values and such? So ask yourself that question, and if it's a no, then it's a no. Don't be afraid to say no to people. I think when you say no, you're obviously saying yes to something else.
Exactly.
Even if you don't have client work, you can work on fake projects, quote unquote, and put stuff that you're excited about in your portfolio, or work on something for your own business that will be much better use of your time.
Exactly. And that will move your business forward and towards the clients that you want to work with. Because if you're only working with projects that you don't want to continue to work with, and that's all you're putting out there in social media and your online portfolio, then it's not going to work, because you're going to keep attracting those clients, and then that's never going to end. And that's something you did in the beginning too, which was to create fake projects and like fake brands to really showcase your work and show what you're capable of and the types of brands that you wanted to attract. So I think that was something really cool that you did in the beginning. And again, it was a recommendation from other designers.
So that's tip number 1, define your client and don't be afraid to say no if it's not aligned. Tip number 2 is setting the right expectations.
Very, very, very important.
There is no such thing as too much communication with a client. We can talk a lot about this. It all starts in the consultation call. Make sure that when someone joins the consultation call, you're the one leading it, so that they know that you're here to ask them questions. The consultation call is not a place for them to like tell you how they want their brand to look like, or things that are details that are not necessary at that point, when you don't even know if your service is right for them. So in the consultation call, ask them the right questions. Sometimes like a client will come to us for brand design, expecting that this will help X, Y, and Z problems in their business, when, you know, if you don't solve those problems first, brand design will not solve them for you. So sometimes we're like, brand design maybe is not a priority for you right now, and we can tell. I think it would be a much better use of your time for you to focus on your social media or your brand messaging or your quality of service or product, etc., before you come to us for our service. And be honest with clients, you know, I think that it's much worse when you finish a project and the client is not happy because they had different expectations.
Yeah, and also when you do finish that consultation call and you have what you think the client might need and what they think they want or what they want, when you create that proposal, when you create those contracts, you need to set those clear expectations of what the project includes and what you will be delivering and what are the deliverables. Because sometimes the client does not know the lingo of your industry, whatever industry you're in. And so it's so important to be clear with them, make it as simple for them as you can so that they do understand. Because at the end of the day, they're coming to you for education and to understand. Because most people don't work with brand designers on a regular basis or other service providers. They might just be starting out their business. And so you do need to like hold their hand a little sometimes.
Exactly.
Throughout this process.
Yeah. Don't ever expect that the client knows about your industry.
Yeah, knows about your industry, knows about your processes. Don't expect that they know anything, basically. If the client isn't clear on what the deliverables are or what is expected of the project might be delayed. The client might get frustrated. They might be, asking for that stuff even though it wasn't included. And sometimes, that is a frustration that happens between the designer and the client because, it wasn't clear to the client. So that's why it's important that in every one of your client's touch points, your contract, your proposal, everything with the communication you have with the client, it's clear what the deliverables are. Because we've had experiences where the client wasn't satisfied with what the deliverables were, or they didn't have the correct expectations, and the project was delayed. And in turn, as service providers, we lose money because, when a project takes longer than it's supposed to, then we lose the opportunity to take on more clients. So that's something to keep in mind. Like, you really do need to have those expectations very clear in the client's mind, and be willing to answer any questions that they might have for the project.
Yeah. So for example, this happened to us when we were starting doing website design. And there is a difference between website design and website development. We are not developers, and some clients might not even know the difference. So, for example, we had one client that wanted us to do some like coding stuff on her website, but that was like out of our scope of work. But she didn't know that that wasn't something that would be included in our web design project. So now we know, like, to set those expectations, and so that clients know the difference between developing and designing.
Yeah. Now it says it in the proposal and the contract, everywhere.
And the next point is to establish boundaries and limits. We like to set limits for everything inside of projects. So we limit revisions, we put deadlines, of course, how much time the client can take to give us feedback. Yeah. Just so that we can keep the project on time and organized and finished inside the project timeline, because essentially you are charging for the amount of time that you're managing a client. It's not just if you're working on it actively or not, but you're still managing that project. It still takes time for you to answer their emails. So when a project, instead of taking 1 month, takes on 4 months or more, it is going to hurt you. And it's important that they know that that's not inside the scope of work, and that it's going to have an extra cost if we do take longer.
Yeah, and we also do put boundaries and prioritize certain modes of communication. We don't like to hop on a call for every single thing that the client needs, because sometimes hopping on a call takes longer time. It takes more time to prepare. And sometimes it could just be a simple email or a simple comment. It doesn't always need to be a call. So we like to keep our calls reserved for more in-depth conversations and, maybe some potential doubts that the client has. But most of the time, we're able to resolve everything by email or with our project dashboard in Notion.
Exactly. So we have a project dashboard in Notion where the client has their client portal. And through there, we can upload our branding presentations, our website presentations, and they have questions in those pages where they can leave us feedback. So it's like if they have feedback that is very minuscule, they can just leave it right there instead of just hopping on a call, and then it can take a lot more time,
Yeah.
So yeah, setting boundaries and limits. We also have had
clients where we give out our phone number because they have certain questions and they just want to hop on a call. We had this one client that called us on Christmas Eve just asking something about their website, and that, in my opinion, is not very professional. And I feel like that was at the beginning. We were so early on in the business, so we hadn't had that experience. And after that, I was like, I'm never sharing my phone number ever again. So if you're a business owner, please don't share your phone number.
And also, giving your phone number might make them think that they can just text you any little thing. So we don't give our phone number. They can send us an email, or we have our Notion board where we can also have communication through there.
Yeah, it's also important to not have communication with the client via text message, because with email it's easier to verify like the time you sent it, and keep all the communication in one place.
Yeah, no, when clients are sending you stuff through DM or text,
Exactly.
just tell them, hey, can we move this to email?
It seems a lot more professional and a lot more put together.
So yeah, also on establishing boundaries and limits, this has happened to us a few times, where we get ghosted after someone booked, so they paid and then they disappear for months.
Years. No, we've had some clients that have ghosted us for years. So
Yeah.
after those experiences, we decided to put a clause in our contract that if the customer doesn't answer our communications within 14 days, the project gets automatically canceled and no refunds are eligible. Because we would be contacting these clients and they wouldn't answer, and they already paid the project and we already reserved that time for them. So when that time is up, well, it's a little frustrating that they might come back a year later. And
at the beginning, I would just let it slide. Like if someone would come 2 months after, I was just like, okay, I guess I can push you in my calendar. But I think that you have to respect your time and be respected by your clients. And yeah, at that point, they would need to reschedule, and that would have a rescheduling fee for them to save your time again. So make sure that that's in your contract for sure.
yeah, as we mentioned, having touch points with the client on various stages on the project. When a client books with us, we onboard them, obviously. So we send them a welcome packet, we send them the contract, we send them the invoice, we send everything with the payment plan, the contract with the clauses, and the welcome guide. Even though we put things in different places so that the customer knows certain clauses and certain things that they do need to know before the project, you can't expect the client to read it. And I've learned that the hard way. Clients sometimes don't read, people don't read the things that they sign, the things that they open. You just got to be prepared for that, because even though you send them that welcome packet, they might hop on the next call with you and ask you the same questions that were answered in the welcome packet. So you just need to have patience and remember that you are taking these clients through a journey and you're educating them, teaching them how to work with you and how to work with service providers.
Exactly. It's important to have patience. So our onboarding process, once a client books with us, we send them a contract. And then after they send the contract, we also send them a welcome guide. And in that welcome guide, we just like to highlight more specific details about the project, things that we really hope that they didn't miss, like the timeline, the deadlines, that late payments will have late fees, late revisions will have late fees, like all of those details so that they are well informed. And also just like keep re-emphasizing those details throughout the project.
Exactly.
So that they know this is your second revision, your next revision will be extra. Just like never think that the client knows or that they have all the information.
Yeah, and another tip that we have is to establish workflows. Establish workflows for yourself, your design process, your process, and workflows for the client. What will be needed at what time, the workflow for when you're onboarding, everything.
So on Notion, we have a huge workflow for each of our services.
Yeah.
And it's like all the steps that we take with each client, including what emails we send when. And we have like the email, copy paste email, so that it's all there. You don't even have to think about it. And in this way, you make sure that you're giving every client the same experience and that nothing slips through the cracks. Because sometimes when we've worked with people that we know, that we're acquaintances with, we might be like, oh, it's okay. Like we sometimes forget to treat them like a more professional
client.
project, and then things get swayed, misunderstood, or things don't go the way we would like them to go. So that we have workflows, we have steps, and we'll do that with everyone.
Yeah, it's very important to have those canned emails. If you're writing emails on the spot, you're losing a lot of time. And this also saves us a lot of time because it's like we don't have to think, we don't have to be thinking about what our next step is. And that's also part of, building your second brain, which is something that we can talk about further in another episode. But that's what we want to do. We want to, take as much as we can out of our brain into the Notion or into our project management so that it flows easily.
So let's go over some of the tools that we use to manage our clients.
I love tools. I love the tools that we use. I love them.
They've been game changers. So the tool that is like the main tool that we use for client management is called Honeybook. So we used Honeybook as our inquiry form. Like their inquiry form is in our website. A client fills out that inquiry form, and then we can send them an automated email through Honeybook where they can schedule a call. So you can do all of this through Honeybook. They have a scheduler where the client can choose a time and date for the call, and then they will get sent the automatic Zoom link. Like, do you see how much time is saved with all of these automatic steps? Like, Honeybook will save your life.
Yeah,
for sure.
This sounds like a Honeybook app, but we really do love it. We really do love it. Like, it's just, you can do templates. You can do contract templates. You can do like invoicing templates.
Proposal templates.
Yeah, and the thing with the schedule calls, like, you can do like different types of calls. What else? What else can you do? Oh, you can put on auto pay.
Oh,
that's really
that
fun.
Is the best.
Fun.
That is the best feature, honestly. You don't have to be like chasing clients for payments. You make sure that everything is paid on time.
Yeah.
Just great all around.
I love Honeybook. We have an affiliate code. We can put it in the show notes. We just earn a little extra like money, but really it's like you get a discount.
Yeah,
and we truly do love it. Like, we've been sharing this code.
We've been using Honeybook since we started
our business. When we got our first client, we were like, okay, we're getting Honeybook. Because we already wanted Honeybook, but we didn't have clients. So when we started getting clients, and it was the best decision that we made, starting with Honeybook from the get-go. And it also makes you look so much more professional, being able to accept credit card payments and all that stuff. So that's amazing.
Yeah, and you have like all your reports. So since we started with Honeybook from the beginning, we have like all the clients that we've worked with, how much money we've made. We see our profits and loss. Yeah, it's all in there.
Yeah, and when we were able to get an accountant, that we now have an accountant on retainer, we were able to just hand her all the data. That was very easy. I love Honeybook. And yeah, now they even have like templates and stuff that you can use, but we haven't dabbled with that yet. But we're excited.
Yeah, they're leveling up. And we're here for it.
And the second tool that we use,
we've talked about it a lot before.
We've talked about it on every episode.
Can you guess? Take a wild guess on what our next tool is.
Notion.
It's Notion.
We love it. Notion is our bestie.
So the way we use Notion for client management is that we create a client portal within Notion. And in this client portal, we have literally everything about the project in one place. So we have the timeline, we have the deliverables so that the client knows all the deliverables that are included. We have pages where we upload the presentations, and in that same page we have feedback forms so that they have presentation, and here you will give me your feedback. And
we also have like content pages, for example, if we're doing collateral for website, but also if we're doing collateral, like the information for the packaging, if they have an ebook, the information for the ebook, and we create like a little template for them. And also the website. Oh, that's my favorite page. The website content, like
Planning page.
dashboard. So we put like the sitemap in our website strategy meeting. We create the website sitemap, which is basically how many pages the website will have and what are the sections of each page, basically. And then we create a different like template for each page, and then the client just fills it out, and we have prompts and we have ideas and we have inspo, and it's so easy for the client to just add their stuff in.
It's easier for the client and it's easier for us. And this is why having these tools is so important, because if you can make things more automated, more easier to access, and just like all in one place, why wouldn't you? You know?
Exactly.
Yeah, and Notion is also great because we have like on the client portal, we can continuously update the client on what we're working on. So for example, with website projects, there might be a few weeks where there's no back and forth communication with the client, but we update the Notion and we let them know this is where we're at. This is at the stage that we're at with the website design. And we also have like, what are the client's next step? So they're always clear on where the project is standing, and they're never like in the dark about it.
I love Notion. But yeah, and the other tool that we use a lot is Typeform. When we finish a project with a client, we have like a offboarding process, and in that offboarding process where we send them their assets, we send them everything, we have also a canned email that's like, thank you so much for working with us, and we share how much we liked working with that person or how it was like. And then we kindly ask them, if you're feeling nice, could you please leave us a testimonial? And then we send them over to this Typeform page where they can leave a testimonial. But we've also used Typeform, for example, when we were launching our first template as a like customer survey, or like a survey about what people were needing in their websites, what were their needs. And we asked them a bunch of questions, and that really helped us create that website template and create those sections.
Yes. Typeform, also a great tool.
Yeah, because I don't know, they're more fun to fill out. Sometimes a Google form, I don't know, it does the job, but I feel like Typeform is more fun.
Yeah, because it shows you one individual question at a time, so that the client doesn't see all the questions.
Yeah, and doesn't feel overwhelmed.
Okay, so our final tip for managing clients is to have a place. We use Notion. We have a page where we document our experiences with our clients. If there is something that we missed, something that we want to do better next time, something that we learned, a red flag, anything, we put it here so that we can reference and improve later on.
Yeah, and this is something that we also need to get better at. I feel like doing it with each client, because it's not only in a negative sense, like it's also in the positive sense, like what made this project feel good, feel easy, or all that stuff. So we like to document all those experiences and just keep in mind those thoughts and the things we were feeling, because sometimes when a project like has passed a few months ago, like maybe you don't remember how you were feeling in that moment or what the situation actually was. So it's always good to just go back in and analyze what you wrote and improve on it. And most of the stuff we've written on that page, we have a solution for it. Like we've taken the action. Like that's also a thing. Like don't only document it, like actually have an action step on how you can avoid this, or if it was something positive, how can I implement this on other projects, or how can I make this a more regular thing or something. Yeah, and that's how you improve.
Yes, take radical responsibility for everything that happens with a client.
Yeah.
Usually problematic clients are not because they want to be problematic. Maybe they just weren't informed right, or the expectations were different. Boundaries weren't set.
Yeah, I think we also like to tell ourselves that bad clients don't exist. Sometimes it's just about how the communication works. And I'm sure there are bad clients or people who don't communicate in a respectful way. But still, like, you gotta put those boundaries and you gotta put those workflows and those systems in place so that you can succeed in the best way possible and that the client does have a positive experience and comes out of the project feeling fulfilled and like the work was done.
So why don't we get juicy now?
Juicy.
Let's get juicy.
Let's get the
Let's
juice.
talk about some red flags.
Okay. So this is purely for educational purposes. But let's get into it. What are some of your favorite red flags?
Someone that I really don't like is working with people that are micromanaging. So it's sometimes difficult to spot a micromanager
In a consultation
call.
Yeah.
But some ways that you might know that they're a micromanager is that they have like huge expectations, have probably tried to work with other people before, but they weren't happy with it. They like to focus on little details, extensive communication. Yeah, just like that.
Yeah.
I think we had one experience with this person that was micromanaging, and I think I could, looking back, I could have noticed from the sales call because she wanted to like basically hire me as her employee. That's what it looked like, because she wanted me to work under her prices and just like bend over for her a little.
That's also another red flag when somebody comes into the consultation call asking for a certain price for specific deliverables. Like, okay, I want it for this price and this much. And we had this particular client where we sent over the proposal and everything, and then we hopped back on a call with, she basically had been fishing around other designers' websites and consulting with other designers, and her point of view was like she wanted to work with us specifically and everything, but she wanted to know if we could match another designer's
She came
price.
with a proposal of another designer and basically told me, this person is doing it at this price, so why aren't you charging this much?
And looking back on it, that was a really big red flag. Because if you do want to like try to come to a middle ground with a designer or another service provider and try to lower the price, there is a respectful way to do it, and there is a middle ground that you can achieve. If you're a service provider, you can always do this by offering a smaller scope of work, or by offering maybe a VIP day or a intensive, or maybe a different, a semi-custom option or something like that in another way that you can serve the client. But in this particular case, the client wanted the same deliverables for the same price. And, as I said, that was very in the beginning of our journey. So we agreed, sadly. Sadly. And yeah, now if a client comes to me, or if a potential client comes to me that way, in that way of like not coming from a respectful place and a place where they respect my prices or my work
and value you.
Exactly. I mean, we're not Walmart. Like, it's our time, and it's our creativity, and it does take time. So you have to value your time, and you have to value your living expenses, and you have to value making a profit on the project. So keep that in mind.
Yeah, and then if you do take on people that are asking for a discount, keep in mind that they might not want to pay other expenses that come with the project. So, for example, this person wanted to keep adding to the project, but also kept asking for discounts on those payments as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, and don't get us wrong. We have also done like exchanges. We've worked with people who can give us other stuff. You know, it doesn't always have to be necessarily about money. It could also be, you know, exchange
Exposure.
services, exposure. Because I know that's also another thing. Like, designers don't like to be paid in exposure, but I feel for us in the beginning, it was worth it. And you know, in this exposure circumstances, we've done some and we've also learned from them. You know, just have it in the contract, like you are willing to lower the price of your services because this person is doing exposure and these are the deliverables
For them.
for them. Like, you know, they need to deliver on these because, you know, we've worked with exposure before without a clear scope, like what the client would be
Doing for us.
yeah,
basically.
exactly, doing for us, and we got burned. So, you know, just keep that in mind. And right now we have some collaborations in the process that we're excited to share soon. But yeah, with those influencers and those content creators, we've had an open conversation of what we are expecting and what we hope to gain from the project. You know, it's a collaborative experience. It's not just you as a service provider doing work and crossing your fingers that they're going to like do a good job, you know? And for example, in our contract, we even have that we need to like approve the content that will be put out.
It's just best if everyone is like on the same page with everything, because the same way that we are presenting your brand to you and getting your feedback, you should be open for us to receive your feedback if you are a content creator.
Yeah, we're doing that exchange of services. Yeah, I think another red flag that's really like at the beginning we didn't know it was a red flag, but it's like when sometimes clients come in and are complaining about maybe other service providers they've worked with before, in our case designers, and they're just saying, oh, this designer ghosted me or this designer didn't do a good job. I don't know, just again, there might be a respectful way of doing it, but sometimes, you know, you're just bashing another person and we might know them, so it really puts the designer in an uncomfortable position. And it just doesn't look good.
Or when they say that they've worked with a ton of designers and no one has been able to capture their vision, it's probably because they don't even know what their vision is.
Might be.
So those people need a lot of hand holding.
Yeah.
You know?
And we've worked with some people like that and we've been able to achieve the vision. But again, it's just they need to have at least a clear idea of the brand. Not exactly how the brand is going to look like per se, but what the brand stands for.
So that we can make decisions based on something.
Exactly, the type of products, you know, just so that we can have an idea for creating that brand.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because at the end of the day, we just want to make people obsessed with your brand, and we really want your brand to connect with your ideal audience. At the end of the day, it only serves the client, and that's, you know, what we want to do. Service providers serving the client.
Exactly. So with all that we've talked about today, I know that it might seem like we're putting a lot of limits on the client or being super strict with the client, but at the end of the day, it's going to benefit them even more if we work inside the boundaries of each other, so that we can both show up happily, no resentment, be our most creative selves.
Yeah. And you know, you might feel like it's a lot listening to this episode, but really the client doesn't notice that is a lot, because all of this is in your back end. The client does not like realize that all these things and all these workflows are happening in place. They're just going through it. And when you give them boundaries and you give them these rules, for them, it's just these boundaries and these rules. You know, like we have rules when we go out to certain places and when we do certain stuff. You know, you should expect rules when you're working with a service provider.
So yeah, at the end of the day, working with clients is
a wonderful, wonderful thing. No, like seriously, it is a wonderful thing. That sounded a little sarcastic. But no, I do actually love working with clients. I love feeding off their energy. I love when we get an energetic client because as I mentioned, I'm a manifesting generator, and I just love that, that fire that clients sometimes bring
it's
in.
difficult when the client is not even excited about working with you, because it's like it's hard for you to be excited about them too.
Yeah, not even working with us, but excited about their brand.
About their brand, exactly.
Yeah.
So that is something that you can look for in the consultation call.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah, we like to look for fiery clients who
not specifically fiery, but somebody that has a real passion for what they're doing, and that they care and they have like a vision, and they don't necessarily have to be like super excited, like extroverted and stuff, but we get the feel that they care about what they're doing, and that way we can match their energy and be excited about making their vision come to life as well.
We love that. I have golden retriever energy, so I love it when they come in excited. But I get it. Yeah, and at the end of the day, these clients, you're building your network. These clients come out having a positive experience, and they tell their friends, they tell their other business owner friends, and you just get that word of mouth because of the good experience they had with you, and these potential clients might even become your friends in the future, like we've had with some of our past clients, which is a beautiful thing. It is. It's like you get a client and you get a friend. Fun.
But I think that's all of our tips, all of our thoughts on client management, working with clients, and all of that. If any of you have any questions about working with clients, if you're just starting out, or if you have a sticky client situation at the moment, we would love to be a sounding board for you, or we would love to answer your questions. So you can send us a DM through Instagram at ariastudio.co.
And we'll be sure to respond to it.
Yes.
Yeah.
We love this topic, so don't be afraid to let us know anything.
So that has been today's episode. If you also have someone that could benefit from listening to this episode, a business bestie, send it to them. You can also take a screenshot of this episode and put it on your Instagram story, so that we can see it and tag us. And that's how we get our podcast out there. We're a new podcast, so please share it if you can. And make sure to subscribe. And if you're feeling nice, leave us a review. And that was the episode for today. Thanks so much for listening.
Bye.